Hey everybody, welcome to The Blacklist, the show where we interview the elite. Today we have Siren at my right-hand side. Now, for people that, don't know you, this is their first time kind of listening in and first time, seeing your face. Who is Siren and what do you do?
So Siren is, let's say, a voice, a vision and a voice of the future, bringing spiritual energy to the masses,
Yeah.
but in a way that's a little bit more warrior oriented because there's so much going on out there, right?
Yeah.
And people think it's all love and light, and it is to a degree, right? But you have to have power and protection to
Yeah.
guard that light, right? To guard the light and love.
And explain that. What does that mean?
It means you have to follow a sort of regimen, a discipline in life to, let's say, activate your full potential, your
Yeah.
higher purpose.
Okay. And how do you do that?
Oh, there's so many ways. But first of all, you got to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
I think one of the keys to life is health, and you have to do what makes you feel good. Wake up, make a list, focus,
Yeah.
meditate a little bit. Get some nature, go on a walk, go enjoy some beach air,
Yeah.
handle your business
And is that
personally.
and when you do that, is that like protecting your love and light, or how does the because I know you're mentioning like you need to have some sort of like a warrior spirit to also
Yeah,
kind of protect that,
yeah.
and life is not just all about love and light. So how does that play a role into like your life and then for others?
So as a role in my life, it means following, like I said, a pretty rigorous schedule,
Yeah.
being disciplined, and also being in the flow.
Okay. So okay.
So yeah, it's sort of like be like water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so really, waking up and going to sleep. The beginnings and endings of everything are so important. It's like
Yeah.
how you exit a room, how you enter a room, right? And I think a huge part of what we're here to do is extend our lifespan
Okay.
at this time and age. And I think it's kind of been a lost message
Yeah.
over time. And there's a lot of spiritual teachers out there that are too focused on being a spiritual teacher rather than
And embodying it or what?
embodying it and representing it,
Okay.
like life force coming through you.
Yeah. And is it because they're too focused on being a spiritual leader because they're trying to make money, or how does that look like? What's the difference?
I think there's a little bit of a high to it and a hype.
Yep.
You don't just wake up and decide, "Oh, I'm gonna be a spiritual teacher today."
Yeah.
It's kind of bestowed upon you,
Okay.
and great teachers come your way, great mentors,
Yeah.
and you have to follow that path. You have to utilize every opportunity, and you gotta grow, and you have to find where your mentors are at, travel to them, practice,
Yeah.
and, it's not just like, "Oh, I'm gonna wake up and get on YouTube and
Right. Right.
look cool and
What's the
be too polished."
yeah.
There's a rawness to it that I'm trying to convey,
Yeah.
more of a Native American aspect to it,
Okay.
bringing people back to the roots.
Yeah. What's the transformation like? So for example, so somebody not doing the YouTube stuff, somebody that's actually trying to, what's their goal to be more spiritual? What does that mean? And what does the end goal look like?
For the normal population, people trying to be spiritual.
Yeah. And then for you, and then what your definition would be?
So I think what I see in the last 20 years, I've been teaching for a minute,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing that people are just getting on the bandwagon. It's cool to do tarot cards and um, talk about spiritual things that people don't have any idea of what it actually takes to acquire a strong energy body. And they're misleading people,
Yeah.
They're giving them techniques and little tips and things that might work for them, but it doesn't mean it's going to transmute them because there's a difference between esoteric and exoteric.
What do those
And
two
just,
things mean?
so exoteric is, book read. People can learn things and they can convey them. They can redistribute them, the teachings. But esoteric is a little different. It's being able to transmute energy.
Okay.
And that takes many years. And again, it's something that's bestowed upon you through life energy. When you've practiced, let's say, the Kundalini work, we all have an unseen energetic system in our bodies.
Yeah.
Okay. Behind everything, there's the unseen, right? The occult, so to speak. And within us, we have what's called the serpent energy, the Kundalini, at the bottom of the spine.
Okay.
So there's some ancient techniques that I practice that I've been ordained to teach called Vajrayana Kundalini meditation.
Yeah.
And it's pretty powerful stuff. It's like lightning. I have a little lightning bolt earring on here.
Nice. I see it. I see it.
Representing.
Yeah.
Um, and a little bat here to represent.
Yeah.
Little bat outfit.
And how's that different from
And
like
that's like rebirth. That represents rebirth.
which one? Okay.
The bat.
Yep.
In Native American tradition, I have a little bat on my pants, bat bag. So representing these little things. People come up to me quite often to ask me. I usually wear a black snake on my forehead.
Yeah. I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people go, what is that? And I say, it's pussy power.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? Grabs their attention. Well, it's the female energy.
Yeah.
The universe is female. And the energy coming up through us is such.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a creative energy. And if we know how to tap into that, we have an unlimited supply of energy, of luminosity. And people are lacking that. So I always say, if you're going to study with somebody, if you have any teachers that are drawing your attention, you want to see that they're luminous. They make you feel better.
Right. Right.
That's esoteric.
Okay.
Okay. So, so the Kundalini is very powerful, and you need a teacher to learn it.
So what's the difference between that and like normal meditation that people teach?
So, there's so many kinds of meditation. I've tried them all. I'm an eclectic teacher, so I have tried everything on the path you can imagine.
Well, can I explain what I think?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So for me, when I hear like meditation, I hear somebody sitting maybe in a dark room, or they're just relaxing, and they're just kind of like closing their eyes, and they're breathing, and they're trying to eliminate thoughts in their head to kind of be still.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So you have to start there. You need to calm your mind. You need to learn how to focus it, because if you can't focus, you can't really do much in life, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, I see these people come on, get on YouTube, and they're very done up. They're talking about things that sound good, but can they practice them and help you to maintain those energies over time?
Yeah.
And so you need to focus, and you need to clear your mind. It takes about 10 years to do that. 20 years to master it.
Oh shoot.
Okay.
And there's no way you can just learn that sooner?
Well, what I teach is the fast path, actually. Vajrayana is known as the razor's edge.
Yeah.
It's Mahayana, Hinayana, Tibetan Buddhism, although I'm not religious in any form. But I utilize the best of whatever the practices are.
Yeah.
So I utilize ritualistic, nature, oriented practices as being part Native American. But I also utilize European practices, the old Celtic, Viking sort of traditions as well.
Yeah.
And I follow Aruvita, the whole.
See, a lot of these words I have no clue,
That's
like
okay.
what they mean. But like, I'm assuming it's just a lot of different. So it's not techniques, right? It's like a way of being almost.
It's a way of being. It's a way of life, and that's exactly right. That's how I try to convey it more
Yeah.
than a religion. And sometimes you have to join. You're going to join a set base of principles by particular teachers you learn from and stuff. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean you have to, become religious or anything. But there are people who take those studies very seriously, and they move to monasteries, and
Wow.
they stay there. And I think you're missing. And nothing against people who do that. I have at one point in my life been considered a monk, but in Manhattan, so it wasn't like in a monastery.
Yeah.
It was utilizing the whole of the city as the backdrop.
That's
That's tantric, and that's what this path is. It's tantric. So
what does tantric mean? I'm sorry. I'm
I
like,
know. There's so many questions, because these are ancient forms that have been lost over time.
Yeah.
People hear the word tantric. The first thing they do is think, oh, it's sex. Although it is sexual energy, but it's the Kundalini that's creating all the magic.
yeah.
So, for instance, what you eat, whatever you put in your body, whether you're eating it or consuming it sexually,
Yeah.
right? We're picking up energy everywhere, whatever we're doing, right?
So you can consume food sexually?
Well, you could. We won't go into details on this show, maybe another one.
Okay, yeah.
But whatever you put into your body, whatever you're putting into your energy field, um, needs to be filtered.
Okay.
And when you meditate and you're bringing the energy up, so you're clearing your mind, that's part of it,
Yep.
but you're also raising the Kundalini. So it's a combo, whereas most meditation practices just clear the mind.
Right. And that's what I was explaining. So like just
So
the
that
clearing of the mind.
Right. So that's the beginning. That's the basics. Whereas Vajrayana is a little more advanced. It's the razor's edge because it's fast path.
Yeah.
And it awakens great amounts of the Kundalini, the sexual, fire force is within us. And if you don't have a teacher to process that with you, like if you don't have the proper steps that you follow, you'll burn up or burn out because
Yeah.
you're dealing with, it's like being an electrician, if you don't know what you're doing, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But
And
if you harness it, you become super aware. It's kind of like an interview with the vampire when was it the assistant of Tom Cruise again? What's his name?
no clue.
Oh boy. Okay, Interview with the Vampire. And I know these movies, but anyways, one of the vampires walks out. Lewis. There we go. Brad Pitt. He comes out as a vampire for the first time, and he sees all of nature and night, and he sees the owls, and he goes, "Oh my God, I feel so alive."
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. So I always joke when people ask me about the serpent. I say,
Yeah.
"You want to be bitten into awakening, like be bitten into life, because you're already here.
Yeah.
You might as well make the most of it.
Yeah.
Live your life to the fullest, right?
100%.
With power and potency."
I want to get into that power part. So, you said like you live a rigorous life, and that's kind of what brings you power. Is it because you're very, like, for example, you're sectioning out times where you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna meditate, or I'm gonna, I don't know exactly, but am I on the right track,
You
or
are
am I?
totally on the right track. So I was describing this recently to someone. I live my life by the planetary alignments of each day of the week.
Okay, and what does that
So,
mean?
for instance, Monday is the moon. It's ruled by the moon. So Monday is more about that's kind of my day off.
Yeah.
If I can have a day off, I have a lot of clients and people who need me during that day. That's kind of like check-ins and reviews and things like that. Feedback day and seeing where people are at. So moon days, I call them moon days because we already have a Sunday. Why do we need a Monday? Give the moon her space,
Yeah.
her little place, right? Give that female energy the time to start the week, right? And that's with kind of lounging around a little bit more, starting your week relaxed, starting it with lightness
Yep.
and resting. If you're going to pick one day of the week that you're going to just rest all day, do your work from bed, that's the day to do it
A Monday.
because it goes with the moon, right? It's a certain energy. It's very light. And if you notice that, it's very hard for people to get going in the work week. I don't know if you've ever
No,
lived in
yeah, I think
Manhattan, but you can feel it there more than anywhere.
Yeah, I feel like because Monday's a chaotic day for everybody else, because they're like, that's the start of the work week. That's when they're working. And for you were saying that's the time to kind of relax.
Exactly. And I did a little project in New York when I was teaching yoga.
Yeah.
I was a head dancer for Webster Hall. I don't know if you remember that nightclub in Manhattan, but so I was doing that, modeling in the mornings and then teaching yoga and all that. And I had a little practice. I started bringing all my yoga students to this Shakespeare theater that I rented out for Mondays, and I called it Moon Days, the Renaissance ship. It was a black stage with statues or posters of goddesses in frames and things like this.
Yeah.
To get women to start thinking of the work week differently, and it became a little thing to start that. And then Tuesdays are Mars Day, and they are about energy, power, warrior. That's when you practice your martial arts. At least I do.
Yeah.
Strength training in the gym. Wednesdays are communication is ruled by Mercury, so writing.
Okay.
Writing and communication, travel, setting travel plans up. Thursdays are for luck, expansion, money. Fridays are for love and beauty.
Yeah.
Saturdays are for money, wealth, building, structure. Sundays are for enjoyment.
And how do you do that like on a normal, is it like a couple of hours maybe out of the day, or is it just the whole day?
Whole day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the whole day.
Is that sustainable?
Absolutely.
Especially in like the society that we live in right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
With balance, it can be maintained, but you don't have to stick to things too
Rigid.
rigidly or religiously or
Yeah.
anything. But just kind of have a little framework, have a little discipline. And if people have a question, they can go ahead and reach out to me. And I teach. I'm starting to put stuff out there more online through online courses to give myself a little more time because having a lot of students that you didn't plan for, it wasn't really like a career choice. It kind of just
Yeah.
happened, and it became became part of my path. And yeah, so I'm available to help
Yeah. And what type of people are looking for help?
everybody. I have students that range from, I have a lot of military. So I have women's empowerment that I do. I focus on women learning how to find their purpose and kind of have their own business.
Yeah.
Women entrepreneurs, strengthening their spiritual gifts so that they can find what their true gifts are. Because you need intuition to really know what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, that's true.
And then I have males. I kind of keep them a little separate. I do a lot of remote teachings. Most of my teachings are remote. I do once in a while, I do in persons and
Yeah.
workshops and things like that, Zooms and all that. But military, I have school principals,
Really?
actresses, models, you name it,
Yeah.
all kinds, writers, authors, producers for a couple of very well known shows. Just goes down the list.
And what's the transformation that they end up receiving when they, when they work with you? Like in the beginning, maybe they're not still, maybe they've I don't know, right? But like what's the transformation that they end up having?
So everybody has some sort of reaction to what I'm teaching. They really do, and everybody's different completely. From nausea to purging. If people have a lot of toxins, emotional toxins, fears, old systems that they need to release, they get ill at first.
Yeah.
And I always tell them it's kind of like getting a massage. You just got to go in there, let it do its work, and then you'll feel amazing in about 7 days.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it's lighter, clarity, purpose, strength.
And how long are they staying with you to kind of
I've had
continuously?
students for 25 years.
Damn. Yeah.
It's like once they come on board, they stay on board.
Yeah.
But I have different sections. I have membership, and I vet people very heavily for that.
Yeah.
And then I have clients that just come in for one-time sessions, but they wind up becoming down the line
Yeah.
students. And then I have an order, so I have practices that are disciplinary for co-ed types, but also the women's empowerment
Yeah.
work. But I'm also a singer, and this is how it all started. As a singer, I felt like I just felt like there was more to my voice than just the esoteric aspect on stage or in interviews and things like that, where I was conveying the more poetic aspect.
Yeah.
And people needed the practical. People were coming to me all the time for readings and seeing and, things like that since I was like 12 years old. And then it just kind of became, a side hustle. And I was starting to do lectures out of my loft in downtown LA. That became a side hustle. And it all just started to become, the next thing for me.
Yeah.
And so using my voice to help others find theirs.
I like that.
And then helping humanity and animals and environment, getting people to be awake, saves the planet a little bit more, right?
That's true. What does the future look like for you doing this?
Well, I see myself doing a bunch of things. I'm pretty much a Renaissance woman, so I'm branching it all into, the things I've been doing and bringing it all together.
Yeah.
I think the online courses are going to be amazing for me because I'm able to reach a lot more people. Yeah, I like reaching out because I've been working more with quality, and now I've got to expand it because there's so many young gals that are seeking the help, and I have a lot of them coming on board, and they're great, and their friends want on board, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
And I have like whole families that come study with me, and yeah,
Well, that's good.
and reaching out around the world. And I have students in India and Australia and
Yeah.
Europe, and so this will help me to branch it all out there and get people awakened a little bit more, a little more conscious,
Yeah.
a little happier to find the things they're really looking for. Because people get so fixated on money,
It's
right?
true.
But if you
True.
do what you love, the money will flow.
Yeah. What's this is the last question. What is one piece of advice that you'd give to someone that kind of wants a little bit more stillness, has listened to this, and they're like, I really like what she's doing, but they don't know how to start.
So, first, I mean, you got to decide how much time you're willing to put into it. Are you wanting to follow this as like a life path, or is it just you want a little bit more clarity and peace every day? You just want a little bit of that. Um, Create yourself a little space in your home, hopefully by a window or somewhere outside if you have a backyard or patio or something, or on a balcony if not. But create a little nature space, create a spot that's just yours that you can raise energy in every day. So when you sit down in that space, you're already feeling better.
Yeah.
Okay, kind of like a little meditation area. And I'm not one of these people that says, oh, you should meditate all day, every day, blah, blah, blah. It's do what feels right. You know that meditation makes you feel better, than do it. Do what makes you feel good. Tantric means accepting all of life, rejecting nothing.
Yeah.
And it's about combining it in just a way that works for you. Don't follow what everybody else does. Follow what works for you. Take a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Be Renaissance, be eclectic, and you'll find more peace that way, and you'll find what you're looking for. And write everything out. Write like a maniac on everything, Notepads, really cool journals, things that spark your creative child. There's a really good book I'll recommend, and I think everyone can utilize this to their highest benefit. It's called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and I think it's one of those books you can read every year. And there's a whole contract you have to create with your soul.
Yeah.
And your inner child. Have you read the book?
No, I've never read the book.
It's pretty cool. And it's kind of along these lines, and coming from an entertainment background and on stage, and it helps to present and to clarify your energy, just when wherever you are, whatever you're doing, but also to give back to yourself every day. So you have that little inner child moment, and you brainstorm, and you come out with some amazing things. But if you don't do that, you're going to lose out on a lot of inner lingo that your being is trying to get across to your soul, pretty much.
Right.
So that
Well,
helps.
it was amazing having you on the show.
Thanks
I
so
truly
much.
appreciate it. Where can people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram at goddessc.siren. That's GODDESSEA.siren. Double D, triple S. And then you've got goddesssiren.com. I'm sorry, that's my other website. That was a long time. Okay, thegoddessc.com. Okay, and then on Twitter, it's Storm's Windsight.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much, Ulysses.